it's Loren. Welcome back to my channel. If you're not new, if you are new, welcome to my channel. I am making a video finally after not making a video for I don't even know how long. I have been procrastinating this video for a very, very long time, and it's time that I just sit down and do it. And of course, when I do decide to sit down and do it, everybody decides to start blowing their leaves. My dog decides to start chewing everything up, and it's just one of those days. But you know what? I'm gonna make the video anyway. I'm sorry for any of the background noise or any of the crazy edits that I'm probably gonna do later. It's just that I need to just get a video out, and sometimes it's just the way that the cookie crumbles. So with that, let's get into the video. First of all, I completely forgot to film all the things that you're gonna need, so that's in the description box below with the measurements that I used. And second of all, I completely forgot to hit record at the beginning of the video. So what I already did here was stack the wood pieces into a T shape, which I will show you right here. And I am just drilling a hole in the center of them. And I did measure out the center, both length and width. This is important to do because you want everything to be as accurate as possible. As you can see from my T shape, I accidentally moved it to the side a little bit instead of having a perfect T. But yeah, then after you drill your hole, you're just going to take your screw and put it exactly where you measured your hole out to be. Like I said, you want to make sure that you're getting as accurate of a spot as possible, because when you mess it up, it kind of throws off how you diagonal your 2x6s onto it. But either way, it works out at the end of the day. I guess you could eyeball it, but just up to you and your liking. Now, I will say there are lots of different videos on how to do this that probably explain it a little bit better than I do, but I just wanted to try out one of the ways that I saw it done and kind of review what I think about it and how it works in relation to skating. I will take this time to say that building this was actually a little bit harder than everyone made it out to look, especially if you're totally new to building things. It's a simple concept, but kind of hard to put together unless you have someone with you to help you out, especially because of this T shape right here. But as you can see, I put all of my screws in, and I came up with a little bit of an awkward angle with my T, but if you measure it out better, that won't happen to you. And then you're just going to place your 2x6s at a diagonal so that you can make kind of a triangular prism. And then on top of that other piece, you'll have the pipe down the middle, which you can see here in a second. This part was pretty hard to do, honestly, because it took a lot of like angling.
It's all about the angles.
That's true.
The angles.
The angle is important.
The triangles.
Right there, maybe.
And my boards were a little bit warped, so for that reason it was pretty difficult to angle, and I actually had to use some bottom pieces also just to even it out so that I could even the height out properly. And then I also had to change my pipe from the size that I originally bought to a larger size. It was important that I got a size that fit the lips appropriately, because you want to make sure that you have a little bit of an elevation, that's what I'm calling the lip, from the T to the diagonal piece. That way the pipe can sit in between those and have a more sturdy space to sit, opposed to just having like the T and the pipe screwed in by itself. And then also, like as you can see here, you want to make sure you're getting the screws to go through the wood without splitting the wood, and also without poking out at the other side. You don't want anything to scratch you or cut you. Like you can see my finger here, I got a little bit of a cut. But yeah, so you want to make sure to angle the screw in a way where it's not going to cause any damage. And another thing to consider is the spacing of each of these screws. You don't want a screw from the right to hit the screw from the left. So maybe thinking about placing all of your left screws maybe 3 inches and maybe your right screws 4 inches. That way you never have them knock into each other. And then when you're doing this, you also want to make sure it's kind of at a diagonal angle, because our wood is going to be at a diagonal angle to the T. One thing I did quickly want to point out was that although this was really fun to do with my dad as kind of like a father-daughter time to spend, and it could also be fun to do, you know, with your friends or your boyfriend or whatever, it wasn't the best beginner way, I think, for me to start grinding. In fact, looking back now, I would deem this more as an intermediate grind, and I would probably recommend trying out maybe a street sign that fell over, because it's so low to the ground and you don't have to worry so much about actually jumping onto it. And right now in the video, I'm just explaining that you want to make sure your screws are spaced apart like I did earlier. And if you want to, you can put like one of those screw protectors to make sure they stay in the wood a little better. And then you can see like where the screw goes from like the outside wood into the inside wood. But yeah, so I think looking back now, I would probably just stick to a street sign until I was ready to make the jump onto one of these babies. But it was still a cool project to do. even though it was hard. And let me tell you, as a beginner woodworker, it was a struggle. They said that this would be easy, and they lied. The second hardest part after angling the wood pieces was actually drilling these holes into the PVC pipe itself, because the way you have to do it is you have to drill a bigger hole in the front part of the pipe, and as you can see, a smaller hole into the bottom part of the pipe. This is so that you could get the screw head through the top, but not through the bottom, because that's how it's going to be held together on top of the wooden pieces. So it's super important that you take your time doing this part, because you don't want to accidentally drill from the top through the bottom and then your screw won't have anything to hang on to. If that does happen and you do happen to have those little screw protector pieces that I showed you on the wood earlier, then you might be able to salvage it. But like I said, just take your time, because as you can see, the drill does have a kickback. And you guys, at this point, I was so tired.
It's the last screw! Yay! Hooray! Yay!
And with my excitement, here's the final product. I did add some legs. If you want to do that, you can. It's totally optional. Kind of helps with the sturdiness, but all you got to do is screw upwards into the T shape. And now I'm just going to show you guys some clips of me attempting to skate. Actually, before you skate, get some wax and go ahead and wax down the pole. This will help ensure that you actually slide. And if you're anything like me, this thing that took you all day to create horrifies you. So the thing I read online is that you want to practice by going over maybe like a crack in the sidewalk and actually skating towards it and then jumping the horizontal way. This is a beginner's technique to help you practice jumping on a specific spot. As a beginner myself, I can confirm the struggle is real. Watch me fall. Eventually, I got tired of doing the jumpy on the cracky, so I decided to take things to the next level and step on and off of the pole that we just made. As a beginner who recently hurt her tailbone, this was horrifying. In fact, it was so horrifying, I had to do it in the grass because I was not about to die on the street today. But the more I practiced, the more comfortable I became with stepping on and stepping off the pole. At first, I was scared that I would get my wheels caught. So long as you have fairly normal sized wheels, I find that this doesn't happen. And I'm actually using pretty big wheels, so. The next thing I tried was hanging on to a tree while I was jumping off and on the rail. This helped a lot because I didn't have to worry so much about falling and I could focus more on my footwork. But after all that, I still haven't gotten it yet, and that's okay. Because the day is long and there's tons of other footwork things that we can work on, like these. The fact of the matter is, we probably won't get it right the first time, or the second time, or even the third time. It takes lots of hard work and practice, but that's why we do this, right? Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was entertaining for you. I'm gonna get better at posting and things. I just need to practice and keep staying consistent. I love you guys. Thank you for all of your comments and all of your subscribes and all of your likes and such. Thank you for watching, and love, Loren.